Throughout this, one of the reliable sayings that we've had on my video series is we need to be proactive, not reactive. So throughout this whole episode, it seems to me that world governments have been reacting to problems once they realize they have it, rather than proactively preparing to prevent the problem. Now, I think it was possible to close down and isolate much earlier. Now, the problem with that is that people don't see the disease, so they don't understand the need for it. But I really believe you can overcome that with good quality public health education, because people aren't stupid. They've got a concept of disease. And if you say, look, unless we close this school now, unless we get you to stay at home now, unless we ban air travel now, unless we stop people going on tube trains now, there will be a bad disease in 2 or 3 weeks' time. And I think as long as that's well explained, I think people will pretty well accept that. I mean, they're certainly accepting it now in countries where there's relatively low numbers of cases, but people are accepting the social lockdowns.
Yeah, well, they've seen so many
explained to them, they understand.
Yeah, they've also seen people complying, and then they've seen death rates soaring, and it makes it bigger. You know, we've seen Donald Trump repeatedly say that he wasn't happy with the Chinese government for not divulging this information earlier. Do you think that's a fair case, that they did not tell the world about the severity of this back in November, December, or not?
China is I'm constantly getting criticized on my videos now. How dare you accept Chinese numbers? You are politically naive. You just accept what the Chinese say. But the reason I'm taking Chinese data now is that the Chinese response has been in 2 parts. Now, we know the great hero, Dr. Li, who tragically died. He flagged this up in, I think it's probably late November, as you rightly say, Brian.
And he put it on a blog, didn't he? And he got in trouble for it. And he said, there's something bad happening here. That was late November. Wow.
Late November, I think. Yeah. So the police actually came around. They dragged him away. They forced him to sign a retraction. And a few other doctors flagged it up. And what those doctors said, well, look, there's a SARS type illness here, a severe acute respiratory syndrome illness, as had happened in 2002, 2003. And that was inconvenient because it was Chinese New Year. And the Chinese system means that if local officials admit something's gone wrong in their area, then they can be punished by more senior national officials. So the local officials tried to hush this up, and then they did hush it up. So quite a few weeks of absolutely precious time was wasted. But then when the word got out and it became obvious there was a real problem, and the national Chinese government started taking action, for example, I think it was the 25th of January, maybe about then, they actually, or was it before then, they actually closed down Wuhan. They just shut down a whole city.
So 2 months later. It's a long time.
But basically, I think you can say 6 weeks were wasted. Now, if we'd acted as soon as Dr. Li said it was time to act, we could probably have reduced this pandemic by, who knows, I don't know, three quarters, something like that.
Would it have ever left even China or Wuhan?
It could well have been contained within China, yes.